So I know that it's not going to come in perfect. I know there's going to be some minor imperfections, and I would probably grade it at an LP, but and if I'm really looking for that card in near mint, I will talk about flawless, pristine, like any imperfections I want to know about. How's the surface? How that kind of deal. A lot of people are a bit more lax. Now, when you get into high-end buyers and sellers and whatnot, it tends to be the same way. High-end collectors, if you're buying from someone who's a collector themselves and they really value, the card quality and the card condition, then you're probably going to be on the same page as far as grading is concerned if you're a very strict grader. But I'd say in, feedback I get on TCGPlayer is also, cards arrive in better condition than I expected. And that tells me that a lot of people are grading cards at a conservative high instead of a conservative low. So the same goes for when you're buying collections. I pretty much, if someone says it's all LP near mint, I pretty much am going to expect LP moderately played. What they consider near mint is probably LP for a majority, and what they consider LP is probably MP in my eyes. So it's great if you're a customer of mine, because you know that the cards I'm giving you are probably better condition than you're expecting. It's gotten me in trouble a few times when buying collections. Because I tend to trust people a little too much, maybe to a fault. So I just generally ask, well, what's the overall condition? Is it LP near mint? Yeah, but there's a few MP cards, and then you start to look at it and get it in, and okay, well, there's some MP cards. There's a lot of MP cards. There's some HP cards. This one's straight up damaged. That kind of deal. So all I have to say on that is be careful. Ask for pictures of the top end cards of the collection. When you get into the $5 and $8 cards and that kind of stuff for TCGPlayer, it's going to be it's going to matter a little less. If it's overall in LP near mint, since TCG low is pulling from LP anyway, you're probably going to be fine. If someone says like it's all in perfect great condition, you're probably looking at a lot of near mint and LP stuff. So as long as you're in that range, you're fine. It's once you start going into the MP, and then once you start getting into if the collection has high-end reserve list cards, we're talking $500+ cards. Those swings between near mint LP and MP can be hundreds of dollars. Once you get into Power 9 and Black Border Power 9 and that kind of stuff, the swings can be thousands of dollars, frankly. We won't even get into graded Black Border Power 9.5 plus, pop 3 type stuff. We won't even bridge that subject. Because frankly, no one who collects those or is buying or selling those is watching this channel. Maybe you are. Hey, what's up? I'd love to own some of those. But, when you start getting into moderately played and heavy played in those higher end things, that can be the difference between your profit margin and losing money. If you're buying, say, an $8,000 collection, your profit margin you have to expect is going to be 10%. So you're looking at $800 profit for a put out of 8,000. So if there's a few cards in that 8,000, which there's gonna be if you're spending $8,000 on a collection, if there's a few cards that are in HP and you paid TCG low for them, well, that TCG low is probably about $200, $300 higher than the HP low. And so you're going to sell it at a $200, $300 loss. Plus, in order to even move it, you've got to give a 10% discount in order to move it direct sales. And so you're looking at a few $100s. You just almost cut your profit margin in half. So that piece is very, very important. Condition is probably, when you're looking at larger collections and older vintage stuff, reserve lists, even Urza Saga reserve list, but like dual lands and power and stuff like that, condition is going to be a huge kicker. Now in your normal everyday collections that you might be buying, $5 to $8 cards, the swing from LP to moderately played TCG low might be 25 cents or so. It might even be pulling from MP, or MP's the same as LP, but the difference there is you will sell those cards, and they will sell, and you'll probably still make 10% on them, or 9% maybe if the condition was off. The problem there is they're going to move a lot slower. MP cards, I've got moderately played cards in my TCGPlayer inventory that have been sitting here for a year. They are not hot cards. They're still worth money. They haven't moved as far as the market is concerned in the last year, as far as price point, but they're still sitting here. And inventory on the shelf is the opposite of liquidity in your pocket. And so if you're sitting on lots of inventory, it means that you don't have more money to spend on the next collection. And spending money on the next collection, if you hadn't gathered, is the only way to turn enough profit to make this worthwhile. Because if you think about it, buying an $8,000 collection only makes you $800. Well, $800 in a week is, what is that? A $40,000 salary? So, you probably want to be spending close to 20 grand a week in order to make any sort of decent money at this game. So you've unlocked the key. You've unlocked the secret of why not everyone is clamoring to buy and sell Magic the Gathering cards, because frankly, unless your buying power is 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 grand a week, it's chump change. It's not anything glamorous or exciting, but that's what we talked about in my intro video. Like, this isn't glamorous or exciting. You're not going to make $1 million tomorrow. You do it because you love the cards, and you do it because you're your own boss, and you're able to have the schedule that you want, and work when you want, and work till 5 in the morning if you want to, and clock out at 8 o'clock at night if you want to, wake up early at 6 in the morning if you want to. It's all dependent on the post office. There's certain things you got to get done before the post office closes for the day, and that's kind of your only time restriction. And I'm hustling on the side while I'm hustling these cards. I'm cooking, I'm moving stuff. It's not my only gig. So, we went into the oddities bit a little, but I'd like to dive a little deeper into that. So oddities can be your best friend if you know how to utilize them. In this section, I'll also talk about extras that come along with collections. A lot of times when someone gives you a list, and you might have that conversation. Okay, let's cut the list off at $3 TCG low. I'll give you 70% of everything $3 and up, and then everything else just kind of comes with it. That's usually how the deals go. Sometimes there's no bulk or accessories or anything like that, but we'll kind of include the bulk and accessories in this portion of oddities. So if you know how to manipulate, and you know that you can sell some of these oddities, then it's worth picking them up, and it's worth evaluating that in your collection purchasing. If you don't think you can move them or you don't know where to move them, well, one, shoot me an email below. If you're doing this type of thing and you've got a stack of signed cards, altars, foreign cards, foils, the stuff that you've been piling up, it's not selling on your TCG inventory, or you just don't know what to do with it, shoot me an email, ThaGoodsMTG@gmail.com, and I'll kind of walk you through that process on a case-by-case basis, and I'll tell you what I do to kind of offload these things, and where to go, and who to talk to, and everyone's got a magic fetish. Everyone wants something. Everyone's into something different. You'd be astonished at some of the things I've heard and like what people collect and how many they have of them. It's insane. So there's a market for everything. It's just about finding that market, and oftentimes when you do find that market, you're able to give someone a really good deal and make them extremely happy and offload the stuff that's sitting in inventory on your shelves. I guess that's one of the bigger takeaways here is inventory on your shelf. All this stuff is not liquidity in your pocket. And one of the things I'm working on right now is consolidating a lot of this kind of stuff. I mean, this is my kind of personal collection bulk. It's a lot of like mint condition legacy cards for when I go to build a full set of something later on down the road. You know, I'm working on a few full sets right now, and then I'll continue to build full sets as I go along. And I don't like buying singles for full sets unless it's something like Arabian Nights, Legends, that kind of stuff. Other full sets, I just kind of like to come across them in collections. You don't really come across that many random Arabian Nights cards in collections. So, but yeah, this is, you know, common, sorted. Sometimes I'll do custom pulls for friends, and I've kind of gotten away from that because it takes a lot of time. And frankly, yeah, it takes a lot of time, and I'm very busy as it is, and so it's hard to kind of pull away and do a 3-hour pull for someone. Although I have to do a couple of those tonight, but so we've got like commons sorted by set and color, and then, you know, sorted legacy by set and color and that kind of stuff. But generally, inventory on your shelf is going to be, unless it's part of your personal collection, is going to be, you know, lack of liquidity in your pocket. So turning over that inventory is where your profit comes from. Back to oddities. So these signed cards, these foils, and altars and this kind of stuff, it can be good if you know how to utilize it and you know what to pull aside while you're sorting through a collection and know what you can get a premium for, instead of just selling it off as, you know, what it is, or you know, finding misprints is a good example, right? Sorting through bulk, sorting through, you know, the list, you know, your money list. Usually when you get the collection, it's, you know, here's the list of cards that we talked about, and then here's all the bulk and all the other stuff. So sorting through that list, if you find, one time I found a Sliver Overlord from Premium Deck Series Slivers, and it had 2 square corners. Cool misprint. Highly sought after card. That carried something like a $60, I put it up for auction and carried like a $60 premium on it. So knowing how to spot those kinds of things is very important. Misprints is going to be one of those things that, like, most people, if you don't have any sort of exposure to that market, you don't even really look out for them. So even knowing that they exist, stuff like, and then that, you know, read up on it. There's a really good website. I think I found it just by Googling misprints, Magic the Gathering misprints. It looks like it's from the 90s, but the information on there is great. It kind of goes through the levels of misprints and like how sought after they are, how they happen, that kind of stuff. But just taking a few hours to read that really kind of opens your eyes, and you can kind of see what the rarity of the misprint is, and then joining a few groups like on Facebook and knowing and just kind of seeing what the conversation is and what people are into and what people value as a misprint is extremely beneficial. Then you know what to look out for when you're sorting through these collections. There's stuff like shifted holo stamps. Unless it's a certain amount shifted, nobody really wants it. It might carry a small premium. Some big things are crimping, ink errors, square corners, like double printed text is really, I think the new set, is it Jumpstart or Core 21? I think it's Jumpstart. Apparently has all kinds of insane misprints, and there are misprinted lands that are, maybe a forest and a mountain, and so they're kind of like a dual land, if you will, and people are getting packs with 6-8 of these in there, and I think they're being bought up for between $100 and $200 a piece. So knowing that kind of stuff when you pull it, and instead of thinking about, quality control sucks and this is trash and garbage, setting aside and saying like, oh, okay, I know where to get rid of this and turn this 25-cent basic land into $100. Signed cards are also something to look out for. Sometimes you can skip over them as you're sorting through cards. Certain artists sign a lot, and thus their signature doesn't carry a huge premium. I would say all signatures carry a premium of some sort to someone. It's just about being able to find those people and knowing, who to go to and where to post it and how to find those people that someone's looking for it. And if they don't already have the card, then they might be looking for the card and the signature. Some people get the card and then send away for the signature, that kind of thing. But like I said earlier, certain signatures carry very high premiums. Certain alterations done by the artists carry very high premiums. I mean, Tedden is a good one to look out for. Quentin Hoover, Christopher Rush, all really good signatures to have. And then Therese Nielsen now, apparently because she's been banned by WotC, and another personal favorite artist of mine, had no idea about all the controversy surrounding her or anything like that. I just like her artwork. I mean, Descendant's Path is beautiful. Original Force of Will is beautiful. There's so many cards that, anyway, we won't get into that. But apparently her signature is carrying a decent premium these days. Hearsay, I don't know. I haven't really tested that. Then other oddities are gonna also affect how your mentality goes into a collection buying experience is. It's a weird sentence, but we'll go with it. Bulk, accessories, sleeves, that type of stuff. If you can get that stuff for free, you can make money on it. It's not going to be a lot of money, but you can use that type of stuff to lower your cost basis for the collection of cards that you paid for. If someone is hard up for cash and they, are in a tight spot, they're selling their collection for medical issues, or somebody lost their job in their family, or they're going through some tough stuff, I'll usually pay a little more for bulk and accessories and that type of stuff. Just because, if I know I can sell 1,000 basic lands for a profit of $25, and somebody's hard up for cash, and I know I can do that within 3 days to a week, I'll give them $10, $15 for each 1,000 set of basic lands. That type of stuff. Generally, my buy price for bulk is going to be $5 per 1,000 of bulk. Maybe a little more if it's legacy, or if it's like unsorted kind of like, is there a treasure in here? Did you miss a heuristic study? Did you shuffle through it a little bit and like, there's probably like some $5 uncommons in here, some lightning greaves and some, that type of stuff. You kind of get the feel after doing it for a little while. Has this been picked through and sorted and everything's been pulled out? Or is there still some like value to be pulled out of here? And you might go push up to $6-7 per thousand, depending on the situation. You got to do what you feel comfortable with. And as long as you're being a good person and not losing money, then it's all going to work. Sorry, camera keeps cutting out. I'm too long-winded. In the future, we'll talk about how to turn your bulk over and sell it and make profit on it. How to take basic lands and make profit on it, and how to essentially sort your bulk and get maximum profit off of a box of bulk. I've got a lot of bulk sitting over here right now that has not been sorted yet. I still need to go through from a couple past collection buys. This situation that we're talking about, buying a collection for what I think it was a small one. It was $850, $860 for a TCG low list that was $2 and above. And a lot of staples and whatnot. Easy turn. List it all on TCGPlayer. Collect 10%. Call it a day. And I think the 30% off came to about $615. And there was a lot of $1 cards, which you'll net 50 cents on, 50% or so, that I technically got for free. So, and then there was 30,000 bulk, which I essentially paid $120 for or something. And usually if my rate is $5 per thousand, then 30,000 is going to be around $150. So I got it for a little cheaper. There was a decent amount of basic lands in there, which is great. Basic lands sell for higher than bulk does. A lot of people don't know that, but they sell all day long, and they sell for a higher premium than bulk does. So we'll go through how to break that down, how to break down your bulk, how to sort it. Always keep your eyes peeled for foreign cards. Pull those out, mostly because people don't want them if you're selling a bulk lot or something like that. Pull your tokens out. Nobody wants those. Every once in a while, I think I just sold 5,000 tokens to someone for, I think it was a $50 profit. I don't know why he wanted them. Someone messaged me and asked me if I had a lot of tokens, and I told him, yeah, probably around 5,000. He said, okay, I'll give you X amount of dollars. And I said, okay, get them off my shelf. But generally you're sorting that kind of stuff out because you don't want that in your bulk lots. And we'll talk about how to advertise your bulk lots and how to sell them. Usually I sell about 1 to 2 a day in 2,000 card lots. And usually the profit is about $15 per thousand. So if you're paying $5, you're making $10. You're actually making 200% profit on bulk, which is insane when you think about singles, and what people actually want is 10% profit. So yeah, boggles the mind. But you have to remember that bulk doesn't always sell. There's times in the year, and there's times in Magic releases, and there's times in kind of the flow of the game in the market where bulk sells really well, and then there's other times that bulk is not going to sell at all. So, and there's platforms that sells well on, and there's platforms it's not going to sell on. So you kind of have to take the good with the bad and keep listing when it's selling. Just keep listing when it's selling, because the next 6 months you might not sell a single bulk lot. So yeah, that's kind of the oddities piece. Not sure what else there's to go over with evaluation of collections. It was a lot of words and a lot of minutes. I'm sure this video has been broken up into maybe 2 or 3 at this point. But let me know in the comments below. What else do you want to know about evaluating collections? What did I miss? Because I'm just sitting here rambling, drinking wine. So, what do you want to see me go further in depth on? We can do full videos on each one of these topics if you want to. Kind of the overarching point to take away here is do your research, do your due diligence, and know what the market, what the industry standard is, right? When I first started doing this, I based everything off of TCG Mid. Well, TCG Mid doesn't mean anything. It's an algorithm created by TCGPlayer, I suppose, but it doesn't have any real relevance in what you're going to be able to sell a card for. That's why TCG Low is the industry standard, because that's actually what you're going to be able to sell a card for in the average condition at the current time. And it fluctuates. You also got to be careful with that kind of thing. If you buy a collection of all cards that are being reprinted in the next set that have already been spoiled, well, they might be, it might be a $25 card today, and it might be a $10 card tomorrow. So paying 30% of $25 low is not going to do you very good. Yeah, let me know how I'm doing. Let me know what else you want to see. Any ideas for content are welcome too. I think most of the videos are probably going to be something like this, where I'm sitting in the office and just talking. But obviously that's kind of boring, but I mean, this is why I started this channel, is to point people towards this YouTube channel, instead of sitting there and having the same hour, 2 hour, 3 hour conversation with 100 different people on how to go about breaking into this market, and how to go about, maybe doing this on the side, or doing it 10 hours a week, or whatever you're into, whatever you're doing it to get a couple free cards, or, maybe you just want to sell cards to build a full set of revised dual lands. I'll sell cards for 6 months, I'll flip some collections, be able to get some good deals on revised duels, and then that's it. That's all I wanted. I just wanted cheap duels. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love having those conversations. They're fun, and I enjoy meeting people and teaching, but I feel like I can get to more people and reach more people doing it this way. So, but yeah, feel free to give me as much feedback, critical or otherwise. Tell me I suck. Tell me this is the most boring, dry video you've ever seen, and maybe I'll change it up. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just keep doing the same thing. Because honestly, no one around me wants to hear me talk about Magic anymore. So, talk to you soon, guys.